See? Luisa was asking who also hums the song at the beginning. I not only hum it, but oh my God, Luna's not even here. Let me switch this. Bye bye. I not only hum it, I play it on my kazoo. Good morning, everyone. It is Coffee and Headlines that we've all landed in. And this is our morning get together live. You know the drill. I am just so excited about today's news. Oh my God. Today is a very important day, and we have all kinds of news. We have storytelling, we have cultural context. Today is one of those days in which I wish I could give you a pill of Latin American context, Mexican context for all the stuff that we're going to talk about today. I am so happy it's not even funny, and I hope you're doing okay in this September 7th. September 7th, Siete de Septiembre. It is an unofficial but oh so important holiday, not only in Mexico, but throughout Latin America. And today we get to find out why this date is so important in our minds. We also get to find out about a wonderful new musical. We get to find out about important news in neighborhoods flooding and, you know, the usual stuff. And we get to take a look at the second half of the road trip that we began yesterday from Libramiento all the way to Rancho Mi Abuelo. Today we look at the second half of that road trip. But first, let's see who's here and let's see what you guys are up to. I see a lot of good mornings, but we will acknowledge those later on today. As usual, if this is the first time that you're joining us live, feel free to let us know. All you can do, or what you can do, is write the word new in your comment. We'll be so very happy to give you a nice little welcome. If there's something truly important that you want to comment about or you want a reaction on, let us know by adding the capital letter Q, and that way we will be able to address your question or comment. And speaking of question or comments, I got an interesting message separate from the broadcast that I wish to clarify, because I don't think I was able to create the connection that I would have wanted to with this person. So we will talk briefly about that. But first, let us dive into our news and take it from there. Boom. Oh, fantastic. Well, as long as this is not set up yet, let me give you a little bit of context. I'm going to come back here. We announced maybe a couple of weeks ago that when Governor Alfaro was here, he... okay, I will not be distracted by your comments today, I promise. We announced that Governor Alfaro launched a plan to overhaul a number of piers throughout the state. And this involves, of course, adding new piers here, or new maritime terminals here in Puerto Vallarta for smaller vessels, and the new ferry that is going to take us from here to the Maria Island sometime in the near future, or not so near future, who knows. Anyhow, as expected, people that are using the dock at El Peine are now grumbling. You see, at the El Peine dock, there have been fishermen that for over 40 years have occupied the dock and now they've been asked to leave in 8 days due to the fact that the maritime terminal is going to begin the construction of these new docks. There are a total of 82 boats that use the facilities, and those protesting have documents apparently that back their permission to use the dock. To give you a sense of what we're talking about, if you look at this map, here is the maritime terminal. There's Walmart, of course. And if you go up the street, this is where the hospital, the Navy hospital, is located right here. And right behind it, there is this entrance, excuse me, and this is what leads to the Los Peines dock. And this is where all these vessels are operating. Now, whether they own the land or not, or whether they are able to use that or not, is something that we don't know. Maybe they just landed there and just have been using it. It's unclear. What is clear is that things are going to get ugly between them and the authorities, and we hope that their differences will be resolved in an amicable way. Moving right along, so much for all the paved streets being inaugurated in Palmar de Aramara in the last few months. Last year, we remember they complained about flooding, and the government had a whole year to fix the street and the water drainage in Palmar de Aramara. But what do you know? The neighborhood flooded again. Yes, many thought that the new work along Maria Montessori Street would be enough to prevent this from happening, but here we are looking at Océano Indigo Street, where water went into properties, damaging all the inside of several homes. So this is bad news. I hope we don't have anybody here in the cluster that suffered from water in your homes, and we hope that the government will continue to address this as best as possible. This is just an informational bit. As we mentioned, due to the hurricane that's going through the Pacific coast, local ports will remain closed until tomorrow. So if you had any plans on going sailing or boating anywhere today, I'm sorry, you won't be able to do it. Now, this next one has a little bit of context. There is such a thing as the Ley de Ingresos, or the earnings law. And I don't know many specifics about the Ley de Ingresos, but every municipality has to develop and update a Ley de Ingresos, or income law, which gives the state information about how each municipality is expected to earn money to sustain itself. And every year, I think, an updated version of the Ley de Ingresos has to be sent to the state Congress for approval. And then, of course, the states have their own Ley de Ingresos that has to be sent to the federal government for subsequent approval. Anyhow, the deadline for the Ley de Ingresos came and went, and the municipality of Puerto Vallarta submitted their proposal. But in the proposal for the new and upcoming Ley de Ingresos, or income law for the city of Puerto Vallarta, we will be expected, apparently, I'm not sure this is going to fly, but we will be expected to pay 75 pesos as a license to own a pet. And this is a little bit laughable considering the fact that so many of us have pets, and I don't even know if, number one, this is going to be approved by the state Congress, by Jalisco State Congress. Number two, if the local government is going to enact or enforce this. And it's unclear as to whether Puerto Vallarta as a municipality is doing this just to have a census or to keep track of how many pets are owned, or if they're actually hoping to raise some money with this new law. So this has been ruffling people's feathers as far as to you know the idea of having to pay to own a pet seems a little incongruous. But I don't know if this is what is done elsewhere. Never heard of such a thing here in Puerto Vallarta. We'll see what happens with this new law, whether it is passed or not. And if it's passed, we'll see how on earth our municipality, our government is hoping to implement this supposed payment that we will have. Now, let's take a quick look at the weather just to see what is going on out there. Oh dear. What if a fortune teller told Leonardo DiCaprio that the world would end if he ever dated anyone over 25? So he's actually a hero and not just kind of creepy. I think I read somewhere that Leonardo DiCaprio likes them young. But I'm not sure about that. What I'm sure of is that according to Snarky Carrot Weather, we are enjoying 28 degrees Celsius right now. Humidity is at 81%, and our Fahrenheit temperature is 83 degrees. Our forecast for today, humid and overcast with a high of 34 and a low of 24. Tomorrow, humid and mostly cloudy with a high of 31 and a low of 24. And then Friday, humid and mostly cloudy with a high of 32 and a low of 24. Moving right along, as you know, I get all kinds of correspondence from you. Sometimes I get it through the chat from this Facebook page. Sometimes I get it through the feedback form that we have on our website. And something curious happened to me just a few days ago. I received this message on the Facebook page from what is known as a Facebook user. I had never gotten a message before from Facebook user, so I don't know who sent this, but it says, "Hola Paco, last night they had a wonderful mariachi event. For the life of me, I can't remember the name of it. I thought maybe you would know." And of course, this generated my official automatic welcome, reply rather. But then this person wrote again, "I guess you don't know. Thanks for getting back to me." So I felt a little bad about this because, first of all, I'm not sure if I was given a passive aggressive finger or if this guy was actually thanking me for the automated response. Regardless, did I know the name of the mariachi? No, I didn't. And usually, whenever questions like that arise, more often than not, I really don't have an answer. So I'd like to encourage everyone that has contacted me directly in the past to, or would like to have answers in the future, to kindly take advantage of this half hour, 35 minutes, sometimes 40, in which we get together and ask your questions here. In the 2.5 years that I've been doing Coffee and Headlines, I have never been unable to reply to someone, and this is something that I failed to show. At the bottom of this, it says you are no longer able to send messages to this person. So I don't even know why I was not able to answer this person. So I'm sorry about that, and I hope you were able to get your answer elsewhere. Okay, so now we have to talk about El Siete de Septiembre, or September 7, and we are going to do this right before we get into our day trip today. Today is El Siete de Septiembre, and this date is important because this is the date in which Nacho Cano met Coloma Fernandez, a well-known Spanish writer and publicist. He met her on September 7, 1981, in a bar in Madrid, where they began the tradition of meeting every year. They remained a couple for almost a decade, but the relationship was not to last. In September 7th of 1991, Mecano, and I'll explain what Mecano is, it is a Spanish band, launched their heartbreaking song El Siete de Septiembre on September 7, 1991. So, who is this lady that we're looking at, and who is Mecano, and why do we care? Why is this so important throughout Latin America? Well, this is Mecano. Mecano was a Spanish pop band formed in 1981. It remained active until 1992. And Mecano, I cannot tell you enough how important and relevant this band became in all of Latin America, this Spanish pop band. Um, it is still the best-selling Spanish band or Spanish language band, with over 25 million records worldwide. The lineup of the band from left to right consisted of brothers Nacho Cano, who is the aforementioned composer who wrote the song 7 of September, his brother Jose Maria Cano, and Ana Torroja, who is the woman that we saw in the previous image. She is, we took that out of their music video. So what made them so relevant at that time? Well, they were a synth pop band, kind of like Sting and the Police were a synth pop band when they first came out. But Mecano added elements of ballad, dance, flamenco, bossa nova, and salsa. Now, let us look back at this time in Mexico's history for a second, and I'll give you a little bit of interesting context if you would like to hear it. Back in the 80s, the rate exchange between Mexico's peso and US dollar was a little gentler on our budgets, such that it was a lot more common for American bands, or actually for Mexican producers, to afford bringing American bands to play live in Mexico. So people that were young at the time, myself included, we were more likely to listen to music in English because we had a lot of pop music coming from the United States on the radio, in live performances, and so forth. But of course, when Mecano first appeared, they created music of a quality in Spanish that had never been heard before. And they really became the first band to really challenge the US pop charts in Mexico and elsewhere in Latin America. So this is what happened with the band. And the song Siete de Septiembre now is a song that gets played a lot on today's date because of the fact that it's the same date. If I was to recommend a song, or rather an album of theirs as an introduction, it would probably be Aidalai, which is from 1991. This is the album that features the aforementioned September 7th song. And it also features a really dramatic song called El Fallo Positivo, or The Positive Result. This is a song that, I mean, in 1991, I was 19? 71, 81, I think I was 19. I was young. But this was the first song that I heard that dealt with a person that gets an HIV positive test, and due to public pressure and societal pressure, this man commits suicide. And pop songs were not about that stuff at the time, but that song was one of the songs that was included in this album, which I'm going to give you a link for. Now, what happened with the band after they disbanded? Ana Torroja, the vocalist, went on to perform and sing on her own, and she is amazing, and we adore her. Jose Cano went on to become a visual artist, a painter, but then Nacho Cano, the genius songwriter from the group, continued along his path as a songwriter and eventually became a record producer and an impresario. He is, without a doubt, best known for his jukebox musical Hoy No Me Puedo Levantar, which means I cannot get out of bed today. And the musical is based on Mecano's 32 greatest hits and named after their very first single, which was on their first album, of course. This musical has gone on to become the most successful musical in all of Latin America. And I mean a musical originally written in Spanish, not an import from the United States or England or anywhere else. So, so they have been huge. They have been huge. And why are we discussing all of this today? Well, because Nacho Cano has been working for the last 10 years in developing a new musical called Malinche. And this is quite important for us Mexicans. You see, La Malinche was a woman, a Nahua woman, or that is a native Mexican woman from the Mexican Gulf Coast, who became known by acting as an interpreter, advisor, and intermediary for Spanish conquistador Hernan Cortés. And eventually she gave birth to his first son, Martin, one of the first mestizos, or people. A mestizo is a person of mixed European and indigenous American ancestry. Or that is when the conquistadors started making babies with locals, and the whole thing about mestizos continues to be relevant in our own racial disparities here in Mexico. Anyhow, this new musical called Malinche has to do with the love story between La Malinche and Hernan Cortés. And this is an interesting thing because we're not so keen on La Malinche. We are, culturally speaking, we think of La Malinche as someone that betrayed Mexico by becoming by siding with Hernan Cortés, with one of the conquistadores. Even today, there is such a thing as a phrase, malinchismo, or malinchistas, and people that are malinchistas are people that prefer foreign things rather than Mexican things. For example, if you choose to drive a foreign car, or if you choose to wear foreign clothes instead of things that are made in Mexico, you are considered a malinchista. Now, why are we reporting all of this today? And why did I find out about all of this today? Well, of course, this being September 7th, there are always a lot of news about Mecano in the news. And it so happens that Nacho Cano will premiere this new Malinche musical in Madrid on September 15th, which happens to be Mexican Independence Day. Well, September 15th, September 16th, but the musical is going to be premiered on September 15th, and I'm sure that it will eventually come to Mexico, and it will eventually rock our world. I will leave you with links to all this music for context, and I will also leave you with a link to a YouTube video of the cast of the new musical, which involves beautiful and amazing singers and actors from all over Latin America and Spain. This is going to be from YouTube. And if that wasn't all enough, Netflix is premiering or has premiered a new documentary that takes us behind the scenes on the creation of this brand new musical, which is sure to be wonderful when it comes out. And of course, the documentary on Netflix has English translations for you to enjoy. And this ends my very long and convoluted, context abundant story about why September the 7th is important, and also about the importance of La Malinche in our history. Okay, so this is taking forever, and we still have 15 minutes worth of road trip to go through, so we might as well get started with that. As you remember, yesterday we took a drive from Libramiento to just past Moro Paraíso to where Villa Amaria is located. Today we get to take the rest of the drive all the way up to Rancho Mi Abuelo. So I'm going to get this started and start looking at some of your comments so we can kill two birds at once. Let me get this started first and foremost. As you recall, yesterday we were at a fork and we were to take this left turn up to Villa Amarias, which is difficult to explain. Villa Amarillas is a resort. It's a small place with little casitas. It's a place for day pass. You can look at their website if you'd like to get more information about them. And as I mentioned yesterday, it's right uh, after the turn that we just took. Karen is asking, what is the Netflix documentary name? Karen, I don't know that I even have to show this, but as you know, all this information is included in your show notes, which will be available to you right after this broadcast is over. You've been around for a while, so you know that to be the case. Um, Let me see. We are going to continue along this road. And as you notice, the road now becomes very, very narrow. It is primarily a one way road in which we are going to have to negotiate with quad motorcycles. We're going to have to negotiate with bicycle riders and with hikers to continue going up the mountains. You may recall 2 days ago, we looked at all this outdoors and they looked rather dry in the Google Earth map. But as you can see, because of the rain, it's been very green and lush and beautiful. And there goes a motorcycle. I'm doing double duty here, looking at your beautiful good mornings and looking at the screen just in case I have to narrate anything specific. Here comes a bunch of quadrimoto riders. Again, this is a very easier way to get up and down this road. We were taking Claude and Luke's vehicle, and their vehicle is known as Safari, but inside of a Safari, it looks really butch and so forth and so on. But inside of that Safari, the orange vehicle, is none other than a bug, Volkswagen engine. When these came out for sale, Volkswagen simply took their buggy engine and put it into this more rustic looking car shape. And these were very, very popular when they first came out. So I'm looking at more good mornings. And let's see what else we are looking at. Isn't the jungle beautiful, by the way? Oh, there's a sign. The good thing when you're going up this road again is that there's a lot of unofficial signs that tell you you're getting closer to this, you're getting closer to that. And I'm sorry if this doesn't have a narration built into the video. We were just chit-chatting about all kinds of things. Let's see. Uh-oh, Luisa got a Mexican muffin with the bandera colors. Good for you. My dear friend Earl, chiming in from Provincetown. Earl, today was a very musical day. I hope you are familiar with Mecano's music, and if not, I will put the link in the show notes so that you can listen to this music that continues to resonate for me. Do 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 do. Logan snarks by saying, somebody gave me a pill of Latin American context at Club Mañana back in the day and was fabulous. That means you were probably taking a tacha or some kind of crazy drug, you crazy man. Some of you are reporting audio stalls. Well, the good thing is that we have a rerun. Oh, at this point, you cannot really see it, but if you were looking out in that general direction, you can see the Canopy River's long suspended bridge, which is the longest in Latin America. It just sort of came and went. And continuing on the road. There's an N. This probably is an N for new. Hello, Wayne. Used to live in Puerto Vallarta for a number of years. Love the show and revisiting through your eyes. Thank you very much. I hope you get something out of joining us in our broadcasts. Let's see. You guys are experiencing internet woes. There's very little I can do about that from my end. I encourage you to come back and watch the rerun or watch the show once it has been uploaded to YouTube or Facebook. or yeah, YouTube or Facebook. Let's see what else we have. Mm, 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 mm. Oh no. You have testimony from someone that lives in Maria Montessori. Amazed that all the road infrastructure work has created this disaster. No drainage put where they pave the roads. That is unfortunate. Back to the video that we're watching, as you can see, there are other ranches. There are private properties up on this road. These are mostly owned by ejidatarios or people that are originally from these lands, although some lands have been deed for private owners to have their property built up there. Oh, and now we're reaching the first point in which the road actually goes through a water stream. This is the first of several water streams that come together and form part of eventually form part of the Kuala River flow. And at this point, as you can see, there is running water on the road. I can only imagine that when it rains really hard, this becomes a little bit more treacherous to cross. But when we were there were barely maybe 2 or 3 inches worth of water under the vehicle. The road was just such a delight to watch. And there's another sign coming up that we're getting closer to our destination. Um, any news of what's going on in the roping of properties in Nuevo Vallarta, Nayarit? Fajita Republic is closed. Um, what I know is that the government of Nayarit is reclaiming properties that past administrations um, took. In other words, the government of Nayarit had properties that belonged to the government, and some corrupt government people decided to rewrite the deeds of some properties and make them their own. We reported this a few days ago that the government of Nayarit has started the exercise of reclaiming some properties that were illegally stolen. And I believe that Fajita Republic in Nuevo Vallarta is located within one of those uh, pieces of land. So that's as much as I know, Harold. Thank you for the question. Uh, oh, God, your comments about the pet inspectors. I love it. Joanne comments that it's very common to license pets in Canada. Never heard of it here in town, but it's good to know that somewhere else you're used to it. Da, 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 da. Mm, 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 mm. Do, 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 do. Looking through your comments and looking at the road, I'd rather look at the road and talk about our trip. I think we're approaching a second place where we cross over a water stream. Yes, we are. There you go. Chris Brewer says lots of cutting out today and in the past days. It seemed better when you connected to Telcel. I couldn't agree with you or disagree with you. The honest thing I can tell you is this is as reliable on my end as it usually is. And if you're having problems, the best thing that I can recommend is to take a look at this in the rerun. Do 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 do. And of course, Pat Reese says no cutting out here in Tucson. Thank you very much for that perspective. And we're still going up the mountains. I'm taking advantage of the fact that there's very little to report on this road. All you get to see is a lot of greenery and a lot of beauty. Here's the third water crossing. Malinche thought Hernan Cortés was going to free her people from the control of Cuauhtémoc. See, oh my God, there's so much history in the Malinche and Hernan Cortés, and I think it's amazing that Nacho Cano turned this into a musical. From what I've read and what I've heard so far, Nacho Cano took a lot of advice from Mexican anthropologists and historians to make sure that he could capture the essence of La Malinche in the new musical. And again, I heard the main song from the musical this morning, and it was so incredibly catchy. Mexico Mágico was the name of the song, and the song weaves into the lyrics the names of all our states, and it was fun. It put me in a great mood, and that's why I decided to share all this Mecano related knowledge with you today. Here's Destileria Boogie Board, Sierra Vallejo. Here's another destination up this road. They have tequila tastings, and they also have pools such as the ones that we shared on Monday at Rancho Mi Abuelo. Do-do-do-do. And let's see. I love that she has a name. The car is named Greta. Yes, yes, yes. There's another cue. Do they need to have special, more rugged type of tires to be able to get up and down those roads? Absolutely. Absolutely. That never hurts. Never hurts. Pets are licensed in the United States. Thank you very much for that. Let's see. The funds for a pet license in Canada goes back to helping animals. Has this been reported that the same will happen here? Not yet, Kate. All these news are just trickling down because the Ley de Ingresos was just submitted less than a week ago. And I am at the end of your comments, so now I'm focusing only on the video. We are reaching the fourth, or it could have been fifth. I lost track because there's all kinds of water streams that come down the mountains. Some of them are more active than others, of course, given the amount of rain. But I just love the fact. Here's another sign saying that we're almost at Rancho Mi Abuelo. So if you decide to go there on your own, and you're starting to feel like, where the hell are we? These signs bring a little bit of comfort, or a lot of comfort, actually. I would not want to be in the middle of this road, not knowing exactly if I missed my turn or if I am getting closer and closer. At this point, we came across these folks that were they were going on bicycle, but maybe they got a little bit too tired, and now they're walking their vehicles, their bicycles rather. And here's another rider that figured, okay, I'm gonna walk for a little while. Oh, Sage, I'm sure you had no regrettas about your adventure in the jungle. Ha ha ha. VW named that vehicle as the Thing here in Canada. I had no idea that they existed outside of Mexico, but that is actually quite funny. They're collectibles now. There are some people that love them, and I know that Claudio and Lucas are very happy with their Greta. And coming up on the road, there are some hikers. I don't know where they were hiking from or how far they were hiking to. As I mentioned yesterday, my friends Claudio and Lucas have told me that they've hiked before from their home near Amaria Villa all the way up here. And we are getting quite close to our destination. I know that because we only have 1 minute and a half left on the video. I think that is the last sign that we saw. Mark asks, the road looks dicey. Were you nervous at any time? I wasn't, because I knew that I was going with people that are familiar with these roads. So I felt absolutely fine. I would have felt nervous if I was going on my own vehicle and I had never been before and I had not seen a video that showed me the quality of the road. And we are here. We are here. The Rancho Mi Abuelo, which we took a look at on Monday, is a left turn, and you can clearly see that you've arrived because you see vehicles parked at the entrance. And this is the area that we showed you a couple of days ago that features the bar on the right hand side and the restaurant on the far back, and the natural pools and the river to the right. And there you have it. This week we had a triple treat. We had our walk around this beautiful property called Rancho Mi Abuelo, and then we had the drive to get there. This second half of the drive also took about 15 minutes. So, in case you were wondering, and I know that a couple of people asked about this on Tuesday, or on Monday actually, how long is the drive? Well, yesterday's drive was 15 minutes or 14 minutes. Today's drive was about 15 minutes. So you can see that you can get all the way up there from El Libramiento in about half an hour. Of course, the road is all dirt once you get into the mountains. So the road is very capricious as far as the weather is concerned. If there's a lot of rain that causes erosion, it may not be as friendly as you'd like. So I always recommend, if you're going to head in that general direction, that you do so in capable hands. And this, my friends, brings us to the end of today's show. By tomorrow, I'm sure we'll gather some more interesting news to share. But I already know, because we ended up having so many headlines today, that we passed some over to tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about how you go to jail in Mexico, why you go to jail in Mexico, and how preventive jail is causing an uproar in Mexico's Congress. And might as well do it tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're going to talk a little bit more about Mexican independence, not about the history of it. I'm going to save that for another day because I do want to do a little bit more research. But tomorrow, we're going to talk about why you should care, if you care to celebrate Mexican independence, and what Mexicans do and don't do for Mexican independence, and so forth and so on. So thank you very much for joining us on another broadcast. There's a lot of show notes to share today, including those of the news items that we shared, and the Netflix documentary, and the Mecano music, which I hope you'll take a listen to. So I'm going to get going. I hope you have a great day, and I hope to see you again tomorrow. Have a good one.